this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder the Capital One bank guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also talk about how most Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One, N.A., member FDIC.
Tax season has arrived, and doing taxes without the right help can feel overwhelming. Intuit TurboTax is here now to guide you through it with confidence. Match with a TurboTax full-service expert who handles everything for you from start to finish. Your dedicated expert checks every single deduction and credit to help you get the best possible outcome so you can feel confident you're getting every dollar you deserve. And the best part? You'll see real-time updates on your expert's progress right on your phone while you live your life. Plus, you get unlimited expert help at no extra cost, even on nights and weekends during tax season. Visit TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax full-service experts. Real-time updates only on iOS mobile app.
Brought to you by the reinvented 2012 Camry. It's ready. Are you? Welcome to Stuff You Should Know from HowStuffWorks.com.
Ahoy and welcome to the Love Boat. I'm Julie, your cruise director. With me as always is Isaac, your bartender. How you doing?
I just did the little...
Double guns.
The double guns.
Looking good.
You're a genius.
Thank you.
For coming up with that.
Thank you. You're a genius too, Chuck.
Thank you.
Do you want to know how we can call each other geniuses without cracking up?
Well, I'm cracking up on the inside, but sure.
Because we have no idea what constitutes a genius, do we?
Right.
We like to throw the word around, as you were pointing out earlier.
Oh, he's a genius.
Or he's a socialist, or he's a fascist.
He's a genius. You should see the bathroom he designed. He's genius.
Nice.
Come on.
Yeah, it definitely is a word that gets slapped around a lot. But the way that we use the word genius now actually is kind of a throwback to its original meaning. In the Greco-Roman era, the word genius...
Back when everyone was wrestling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you could be a genius at wrestling.
Sure.
Really, what it described was somebody's natural enthusiasm, inclination towards certain activities, not just your abilities, but how revved up you were. So somebody who was pretty good at bathroom design,
right,
would have been considered a genius at bathroom design.
That's like the word vintage. People always think vintage just means old.
Yeah.
But I think vintage specifically means like characterized by that person's best work, like a tailor, their best 5 pairs of pants they made.
Really?
I think so.
I just learned that just now.
I might be wrong.
Thanks to you. Are we picking up Jerry's laugh because we're in a 2 foot by 2 foot space right now?
Yeah. This room is not genius.
No, it stinks of volatile organic compounds.
Well, we should say they actually moved us for one day into an even smaller office.
Yeah.
Like the Seinfeld, remember when Costanza, they kept moving him around because they didn't like him?
Yeah.
And we're eventually going to end up in a storage closet like he did.
Yeah, I think we've arrived there.
Yeah. I'm sure it's lovely. It's just not for podcasting.
Okay. Well, I'm a little lightheaded, so if this goes oddly, that's why. It's the paint fumes and the airplane glue.
That's airplane glue is genius.
It is. Yeah, we were talking about genius for some reason, weren't we?
Yeah, because this is about genius.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, so, I was saying the original idea of genius was enthusiasm, throwing yourself into something, what you were into, right? And then, thanks to a guy named Francis Galton, who, he was a pretty smart guy himself, but he had a long history of just kind of missing the big picture with his ideas. He came up with eugenics.
Sure.
He was the first one to start attributing genius to intellect. He kind of narrowed it a little more. And eventually this led to our idea of genius being quantifiable, e.g. through IQ tests.
Or G, which we'll get to.
Nice foreshadowing.
That was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and say I don't know how quantifiable it is.
Well, it's not, and there's actually 2 pretty big reasons why quantifying genius is virtually impossible, at least with our current understanding of the mind, and they are?
They are, well, the first one's pretty obvious. Genius is a very subjective thing. Some people think it's like an IQ higher than 140 or 175, I've heard, which, that's just a smarts quantifier? And I'm clearly no genius. And the other thing is, like you said, it's a big picture thing, and science and medical inquiries, that kind of thing, is all about the detail. So it's really hard to analyze and study. It's like studying intercessory prayer. Sure. How do you study that? Yeah. How do you quantify happiness or prayer or genius, Yeah. Our colleague, Tracy V. Wilson. I like how she put it. Yeah, she did a good job just kind of getting rid of the crud that's often associated with genius, and just if you have crazy hair and a big mustache and math, you're a genius. She got rid of all that, and for the purposes of this podcast, we'll adopt her description, right? Agreed. Which was that a genius is an extraordinarily intelligent person who breaks new ground with discoveries, inventions, or works of art, right? Because you can't just be a really smart person. You have to do something with it to truly be a genius. That's what makes a genius. It's not just intelligence, it's intelligence with creative energy. Well, the creative part is huge, and we'll get to that. But it's she goes on to say, and I agree, that they usually will change the way we look at the world, or at least the way people in whatever field they're in look at their field. They make a difference. They're difference makers. Have you ever heard of a guy named William James Sidis? No. He reportedly had the highest IQ in history. Higher than Ask Marilyn of Parade Magazine? As a matter of fact, yes. Okay. Ask Marilyn says hers is 230. Yeah, she claims the highest ever measured. This guy supposedly was 250. Really? Yeah. Did he do more than a QA at the end of Parade Magazine? Sadly, no. Really? Okay, so let me give you a little background on Sidis, okay? He was 18 months old when he started reading the New York Times. Okay, so far so good. All right. At 2, he taught himself Latin. 3, he taught himself Greek. Wow. He could speak more than 40 languages by the time he was an adult. Okay. He graduated cum laude at 16 from Harvard and became the youngest professor ever in the history of Rice University. How old? I imagine he was 17 or something. Okay. He was a young guy. Wow. And then within, I think, about a year at Rice, he dropped his position and spent the rest of his life working menial jobs. He went from job to job, just doing normal labor. So he's not a genius, though. He would not qualify as a genius by this definition. You have a 250 IQ. You're clearly a prodigy. Mm-hmm. You're an incredibly brilliant person. Right. But if you don't contribute to humanity, what are you worth? You're like a Buddhist monk who goes and spends your life meditating in a cave. We get so much email about that. Curse you. Sorry. But that's the point. And geniuses are incredibly valuable to society. I don't remember what podcast it was in, but we were talking about Malthus and the idea that the larger the world population, the more incidence of the births of geniuses happens, right? Yeah. And then the more geniuses you have, the further along society is helped by leaps and bounds. Right. Well, if you think Mensa is a quantifier, then there's about 3 million geniuses in the U.S., but I don't buy that. Right, because Mensa standards, they accept IQ, people who, well, it's not just IQ, but standardized intelligence tests. Right. They accept people who score within the top 2% of those. So if you just extend that with basic math, 2% of the population of the U.S. is 6 million people, right? And then 30 million worldwide. But I don't buy it anyway because they don't even count the creative element. Gina Davis is in Mensa. Yeah, everyone always says that. And anytime you hear about Mensa, people go, Gina Davis is in Mensa. I think we had this conversation. You brought up Rennie Harlan and... Yeah, the pirate movie they made. Let's play the clip, shall we? No. Okay, we won't. Let's get back to genius. She just spit bologna out of her mouth. She's so angry. Shouldn't be eating bologna anyway. I did her a favor. You're right. So you want to talk about the brain? Is that where we're going? Let's get to it. I mean, if you're going to go in search of genius, with or without Leonard Nimoy, you are going to start looking in the brain, right? I love that show. The best. It's awesome. Yeah. So super 70s. So let's go into the brain. Clearly, we're going to find our answers here, right? Maybe. No. But we should talk about it. The cerebral cortex, as we all know, is the largest and outermost part of your brain, and this is where the higher functions like thought and reasoning happen, as opposed to lower functions like just basic survival, that kind of thing.
Right, and the most basic stuff is found in your brainstem, which is how Mike the Chicken was able to live for so long.
That's right. The cortex is cerebral cortex is divided into lobes, and within those lobes there are regions that help you handle specific tasks. And we do know it has a big impact on how we think, but it's a little tricky to study because one reason that Tracy pointed out, which I thought was really valid, is to get an MRI done, you're lying there in a tube. They can't actively study how your brain operates on a day-to-day basis while you're functioning.
Right, which is the great failing of the Wonder Machine.
Yeah, I bet you they can solve that one day.
Oh, they will, definitely. And by they, I mean people other than you, me, or Jerry.
Some genius, perhaps.
Precisely.
But she did point out a cool study from Cal Irvine in 2004, and they did pinpoint that the volume of gray matter in parts of the cerebral cortex has a greater impact on your overall intelligence than how large your brain is. Because we talked about that in the Einstein thing, right?
Yeah.
His brain was actually smaller.
The gray matter, I know the white matter transmits. The gray matter is like problem solving, I believe. And white matter is used to transmit information.
Right. But Einstein's brain was smaller than your average bear's brain.
It was. Remember, we talked about what happened to his brain. And what they finally found, the big distinction they found in his brain that was abnormal was that his parietal lobe was almost missing this fissure within it.
Yeah.
That most people have.
That's right.
So he had a very narrow fissure, and it
was also wider than most.
So he had a big parietal lobe, which is responsible for sensory input, but it also handles things like mathematics, unsurprisingly enough.
Sure.
So he had a big parietal lobe with a small fissure in between it, which they theorized meant that his parietal lobe could communicate with itself more efficiently, more effectively.
And a genius is born.
Yes.
By 26, Joshers, he proved that atoms exist. He figured out that light behaves as a particle and a wave. He developed the theory of relativity and the famous equation equals mc squared. By 26, where were you by that age?
I wish I could remember, Chuck.
Right, me too.
Yeah.
Were you following Fish around or something like that?
Widespread Panic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I think I was living in New Jersey at the time, but I'd goofed around enough in Athens. I wasn't coming up with theories of relativity.
Nor was I.
No. I was throwing a lot of darts.
Some other interesting aspects of the brain is that it actually develops. It goes from thicker to thinner as we age. So it goes from undeveloped to the cerebral cortex thickening.
Yeah. Right.
And then after adolescence, or maybe during adolescence,
I think during,
it begins to thin, right? And what a study in Nature, I think 2006, found was that kids whose brains thicken faster in youth tended to have higher IQs.
Right.
And the reason that this could be significant is that we tend to find intelligence as an inherited trait, or what appears to be an inherited trait. So this is a physical example of how intelligence could be inherited through organic structure of the brain.
Right. So that's intelligence, but that's not genius. So we need to talk about
we can't
the
even
difference.
But at the same time, we can't even really describe intelligence. Like,
that's
consider.
true.
Let's talk about the IQ test. All right.
Okay.
Our big arousal for the IQ test began in the mid 1920s,
right?
When a psychologist named Catherine Morris Cox published the early mental traits of 300 geniuses. And basically she went back and it was exhaustive. She used like 1,500 sources and studied the work, the traits, the contributions of 300, and actually 301. I don't know why she called it 300, but 301 great minds.
Right.
And then basically gave them an IQ test based on this. And came up, and the highest rated one was Johann Goethe.
Very nice.
Thank you. Did you know he had a theory of evolution like 75 years before Darwin?
Really?
Yeah. And he came up with human chemistry. He was a smart guy, but he clocked in at number 1 at 250 or 210.
Wow, not bad.
Sorry, not bad at all. But as this book came out and became, the public became aware of it, it was like, hey, we didn't know about these IQ tests. This is awesome. We can start measuring how smart people are.
Right.
Ironically, the earliest IQ tests were used to measure mental handicaps in children.
Really?
Yeah. But then they started figuring out, hey, you can use this for gifted kids, to find the gifted kids as well. And the Stanford psychologist mixed with the first guy who came up with the IQ test, Binet. The two together formed the Stanford-Binet IQ test that we use today.
I know I'd heard that.
Right?
Have you ever had yours done?
No. I refuse to. I never will.
I took one at one point, but it wasn't like the standard test. It was just some hackneyed version, and I scored really high. That's the reason I know that it was pretty much BS.
Oh.
Because I'm kind of smart, but not anything like I scored. I don't put any stock into it.
But Chuck, I guess that kind of underscores a really good criticism of IQ tests, is that they may be standardized, they may be widely accepted, but we aren't 100% sure that they measure everything. Actually, I wouldn't even say we're 90% sure they measure everything.
No way.
They measure mathematical aptitude, language abilities, what else?
Well, yeah, sure, along with memory and spatial ability.
Okay, but is that everything?
Well, no, in any standardized test, the word itself kind of says it all. It's standardized.
Right.
No standardized test that you give different people can really tell you the same thing about all those different people.
No, it can't. And I mean, the very questions that the test asks. Wow. These paint fumes are really getting on top of me. The very questions that these tests ask actually can be biased. I heard of, I think, an SAT. I hope it wasn't an SAT question. It's a little too easy, but some sort of standardized test, it asked the question, which of these places would you go to buy milk? And it was like grocery store, convenience store, dairy, or something like that.
Well, you can buy milk at all those, Josh.
Well, you can, but I mean,
Right.
like for kids out in the sticks where
Right.
there isn't a grocery store, but there's a convenience store,
Sure.
that's where they go to buy their milk, but they missed the question because the answer was supposed to be grocery store. It's a pretty dumb example, but
Yeah.
it's accurate.
Right.
I mean, the very people who write the tests are biased in some ways, and IQ tests have been shown to skew against certain ethnic and socioeconomic groups.
Yeah, sure, same as SAT. Any standardized test does.
So, boo.
Boo to that is what I say.
Okay.
And the other thing, too, is that geniuses don't, like people generally consider genius, don't necessarily score well on these tests anyway.
No, that's true, too.
So throw it out the door is what I say.
I will say, though, just while we might as well give a little information on the IQ test. The standard score is 100 with a deviation of 16. So the average score of the general population will be between 84 and 116.
Right. Bell curve.
Right. But no one knows what over that indicates a genius.
Right.
A widely accepted number is 140.
Right.
But somebody just made that up at some point in time.
Well, like I said, I read 175.
And that's not to say that a really high score doesn't mean you're a genius. Like, it could mean you're a genius. The IQ test is capturing something, probably.
Right.
But it's not capturing the whole picture, I think, is the
No.
point we're trying to make right here, right?
Not at all.
So let's leave the IQ test in our dust.
Okay. Maybe we should go with Sternberg's triarch theory. I kind of like that.
Yeah, there are some competing explanations of what components there are to intellect, right?
Yeah, Sternberg said that he thought human intelligence includes a few things, thus the triarch. Creative intelligence, so the ability to generate new ideas, interesting ideas.
Right.
Analytical intelligence, so you can examine facts, draw conclusions. That's pretty good.
Right.
And practical intelligence, which means you can fit into your environment, which
It's like street
I don't know about
smarts,
that.
kind of.
Yeah, but
I disagree, man. I went back and reread that a couple of times, and you know, Tracy points out that there are a lot of critics of,
oh yeah,
practical intelligence. It's everybody has that to a certain degree, and does that really count toward being a genius? I disagree. I've met some people who, well, I mean, think about it. It's the classic example of somebody who's very book smart, but you should never let
Sure.
walk down an alley by themselves.
and I've known
or
many,
by himself or herself.
many people like that.
Sure, and then there's the super street smart Ratso Rizzo, who can make his way. Haven't you ever seen Midnight Cowboy?
I'm walking here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who can make his way in the world, but would probably do horribly on an IQ test.
Sure.
The very fact that there are those different polar extremes means to me that there's something to that. That is an aspect of intellect.
Right. And you remember I mentioned G earlier? I didn't want to leave people hanging there, but the IQ test, they have come up with a unit, and they call that unit for intelligence G.
Right, and that's actually IQ tests are under a larger umbrella of what's called psychometrics, which is basically the study of an attempt of the measurement of intelligence, right?
C.
Yeah. Back in the 70s, there was a statistician named Carl Jorskog. Weird. And he figured out a way to measure intelligence that basically led to the appearance of 3 different kinds of intelligence while we're on theories of intelligence, right? Okay. He came up with fluid intelligence, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this is basically coming up with new ideas on your own to solve problems. Crystallized intelligence is understanding already established techniques of problem solving and being able to identify which technique will best work to solve a particular problem.
Okay.
And then there's visual spatial reasoning, which is kind of an aptitude at creating mental images in your head to solve problems. It's a very important part of mathematics, actually.
Right.
So we have Jorskog's ideas. We've got, what's your guy's name? Sternberg's?
Hey, not my guy.
Let's talk about Howard Gardner. And he has the feel-good, we're all geniuses kind of theory, right?
Yeah, multiple intelligence. He thinks there's 7 types: linguistic, logical, mathematic, musical, bodily, kinesthetic, spatial, which is always in there, intrapersonal, and interpersonal. Right. But that's, like you said, it's a little too broad, is what a lot of critics say.
It is.
There's always a critic of each of these, it seems like. One person comes out with something, and people say, well, I think that sounds good, and then another part of the camp says, no, I don't agree at all.
Right. Isn't that the way with everything, though, Chuck?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, Mountain Dew Code Red is the greatest drink ever. No, it's not. Regular Mountain Dew's way better.
Good point.
Yeah. And then I guess another hallmark of intelligence, something that can be measured, is geniuses' aptitude toward social awkwardness.
Yeah, a lot of them are generally known as quirky, odd characters.
They make up friends, as
sure.
John Nash did.
Yeah, absolutely. Einstein was sort of a wacky guy.
Yeah, he liked to stick his tongue out. He was zany.
Yeah, I think people always point to that picture.
Yeah.
See, look how crazy he was.
Yeah.
Got anyone else?
Well, let's talk about studying that.
Yes, Josh. A Purdue study, Purdue U, saw 423 students, gifted students, and suggested that they were more susceptible to being bullied. So they're little mamby-pambies, I guess.
A little bit. Also, there was a study out of, was it Stanford? That it was a 20-year study, actually, that ended in 1940 that actually gave children aptitude tests and personal adjustment tests.
Right.
And found that there was a negative correlation between IQ and social adjustment.
Right.
Right? So basically it's quantifying what we all already know, that if you're a smart kid, you're going to eat mud several times in your life.
Yes. I never ate mud. That's why I knew my IQ score was BS. Well, one thing that geniuses have in common, I think we can all agree on, that you need to have to be a genius, and not just smart, is creative intelligence.
And high-waisted pants.
Creative intelligence and high-waisted pants.
Right.
This is where it all comes together, to me.
Right, yeah. I mean, we talked about this earlier. Like, it's not good enough to just be smart. Then you're just a really intelligent person. The leap between intelligence and genius is bridged by creative prowess.
Yeah, that's how you break new ground.
Right.
Why did you point at me?
Because prowess was a horrible word.
Oh, I like that.
Thanks, man.
The thing is, though, Joshers, is that this is another thing that you can't quantify and study necessarily. So once again, it's hard to kind of pinpoint creativity and imagination, although the researchers do think that creative people have less latent inhibition, and I completely agree with that.
Right, yeah, we've talked about that with the Thinking Cap episode.
Was that it?
Yeah,
I knew it was
where
something.
schizophrenics have low latent inhibition.
Right.
And they take this extra stimuli and their brain constructs hallucinations out of it.
Right.
The idea was that creative geniuses who have low latent inhibition take this additional stimuli and use it in novel, creative ways.
Right.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. There's also a quantifiable method, or a couple of them, to determine how much creativity a genius has lent to the world, right?
Yeah.
It was in that article, that Time article you sent me.
I thought that was kind of lame, to be honest.
It is lame, but it's funny that this is the level that we're at to try to survey genius, right?
Yeah, was this the guy who wrote the book, Simonton?
Yeah.
Dean Keith, almost said David Keith. What a great actor.
What a chin.
Dean Keith Simonton wrote a book called Genius 101, Creators, Leaders, Prodigies. And he came up with a little notion that add up the number of times someone has been in a publication, has been cited in a professional publication in their field.
Yeah.
Or the number of times a composer's work maybe has been performed or recorded. And I just think that's stupid.
I think I think there's one that's worse, and that's counting encyclopedia references.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
Because I think you can be a genius who is undiscovered. You may have written 1,000 great compositions of music that you never show the world.
No. Well, then
I think so.
Well,
you
then
can still
isn't
be a
that
genius.
the same thing as just holding menial jobs? That's virtually the same thing as holding that stuff in your head. You have to share it with the world to be a genius, or else you're just some smart schmo.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, but I don't know if I do either. I think you can still be a genius in and of yourself. You can be a genius in a vacuum.
But not considered a genius by the populace.
Right.
Okay.
Who wants to own you.
Right.
You know?
I guess that's a difference. The difference I see in the guy who wrote, or gal maybe, who wrote several great compositions and that were never discovered, and the guy who just got the menial jobs, is he didn't seem to have any creative genius going on.
Yeah, he was
just
able
really
to
smart.
just learn. He was book learning, good at book learning.
Well,
although, if you are trying to come up with a measure of, creative genius, then counting encyclopedia entries does work. I mean, it's a way to go.
Right. Malcolm Gladwell, should we talk about him?
No.
He is of the belief that, along with Galton, I think you're talking about with eugenics, that practice is really what leads to genius. Hard work and practice and practice and practice. Which, I don't know about that either. What do you think?
I told you I'm not talking about Gladwell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on then. And fine, forget Gladwell. Let's talk about Ericsson. Anders Ericsson is a rival. They call him a friendly rival, which I thought was kind of funny, of the Simonton guy I was talking about.
Their conflicts end in tickle fights.
Right. It kind of reminded me of the Good Will Hunting, like Robin Williams and that other guy.
Right.
They were friendly rivals. But he is popular for the 10-year rule, which has been around for a long time. But that's a notion that it takes 10 years or 10,000 hours of dedicated practice to master a complex endeavor, and Gladwell is a believer in that.
So, Chuck, there's a guy named David Gallinson, too, who's kind of come up with at least a qualification of creative genius, right?
I didn't like him either.
You didn't?
Nah.
Well, doesn't that kind of underscore where the field of genius or intelligence research is right now? That
yeah.
We've just poo-pooed absolutely every sector.
Well, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
But, say what he says, because I want to prove that
he says that there's, actually now he says there's three kinds. Originally he said there's two types of innovators. There's conceptual innovators who think in bold, dramatic steps, which Einstein would fall into. And do you know that among very smart people, he's considered kind of a flash in the pan?
Really?
Yeah, think about it. He did everything that he was going to do by age 26. After that, he just went around canoeing with Walter Matthau.
As Walter Matthau.
Same thing.
Right.
And then there's experimental innovators, and they learn through trial and error over and this would be the Thomas Edisons of the genius world. And then everybody started shouting at David Gallinson. Then he said, shut up, and went back to the drawing board and came up with the idea that genius can also be expressed in a continuum over time throughout a long lifetime of great contribution and work.
That's my problem with it.
What, everybody shouted at him and he went back and was like, here you go.
He was like, well, you can either get everything done really early or you can produce all your great work later in life. And they were like, but what about people who do it all their life? He went, well, yeah, you can do that too.
Right.
It's like so lame.
Right.
So, should we just list out some geniuses throughout history that people generally consider genius?
I didn't like this list either.
But we don't like anything about this one, do we?
George Washington's number 45? And who's number 1? It starts at number 2. And if one's Einstein, I'm going to literally eat this list.
1 was Einstein. I didn't copy-paste all of them. We have geniuses like Tesla is 3, Da Vinci, number 2, Isaac Newton, number 4, Hawking, of course, Michelangelo, Archimedes. Josh is eating his list. Warren Buffett is on there. Not bad.
Sure, they had to round it out and make it as approachable to all the readers they could.
Aristotle, Picasso, Niels Bohr, Jefferson, Plato, Churchill, Benjamin Franklin. I think I'd agree with that one. Shakespeare, Sir Francis Drake, Michael Faraday, Chuck Darwin, Rene Descartes, or is it Desplain?
Descartes.
Gary Kasparov, and I think Bobby Fischer was on there, both chess champions. I don't know. They're considered geniuses. It's all subjective, though.
It is completely subjective. I think we're going to end this with this observation. Genius is like pornography. It's impossible to fully define, but we know it when we see it. Right, Chuck?
Who was that?
Suter.
Bruce Suter?
No, Bruce Jenner.
Okay.
If you want to learn more about genius, I think there's more than just this article. There's a bunch of good genius articles on the site at howstuffworks.com.
And there's also a bunch of articles on people that we've mentioned. Mm-hmm. Because we're doing a whole new series on painters, right? Like
yeah, we are.
Picasso and Van Gogh.
Sure. You can type it in the handy search bar, of course. Since I said that, it means it's time for listener mail. Chuck, first, before we do anything.
Before anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's we should probably plug our new Facebook page.
Yeah.
We were on Facebook for a while. This is nothing new to us. But we streamlined our stuff. We had a fan page and a regular page, and it was all just strange. So
we consolidated,
right,
and we're actually active on Facebook now.
Yes, we are.
Personally.
Yes, we are. We have our brand new Facebook page is Stuff You Should Know. Just type that into the handy search bar at Facebook. Or I think it's facebook.com/Stuff You Should Know, maybe.
I'm not positive, but it's easy to find.
And also, buddy, we're tweeting. You are tweeting.
I have tweeted twice.
Yeah, you're 68 and you're tweeting.
I know. I feel like a modern child.
Right. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we have our Twitter name as SYSK Podcast. Right?
Yeah, so that would be at. Isn't that how they do it?
Yeah, look at you go.
SYSK Podcast. And we'll be saying funny things as well as sending out links to cool stuff. And, we're active now.
That is true. So check us out, will you?
Yes. On with the show?
Yes.
All right, Josh. Listener mail. For goodness sakes, listener mail. I'm going to read a couple of quickies here from a young boy named Sam and from a trucker named Annette. Annette took us to task.
Oh, no. Over what?
We'll read it first. Annette says, Hi, Chuck and Josh. I am a over-the-road truck driver and love your podcast.
Over the road?
That's what she says. I would love for you guys to come along with me into the 21st century regarding truck drivers. I've been driving for almost 13 years, and guess what? I'm a woman. In fact,
what?
I have 2 sons y'all's age. When you talk about truck drivers, as in the McDonald's podcast, you always talk about big, burly guys. Well, I may be big and probably more surly than burly, but I'm definitely not a guy. Don't forget us lady drivers.
Nice.
Love, love, love the show. So,
and how could we forget? I mean, Large Marge was a huge factor in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
And that was Annette?
That was Annette, and I told her that I would read this as our penance.
Annette, I'm making the blow your horn sign for the tractor trailer. So if you're hearing this right now, toot your horn.
Awesome. Hope she didn't just cause an accident. This is from Sam, and Sam is just another cute little kid, and I like these.
I saw that. Lots of caps.
Yeah. Hi, Chuck and Josh. I'm Sam blank, because I'm using your last name substitute. I'm 11 years old. You guys help me get through many boring tasks like dog poop pickup, my least favorite chore.
Sure.
I think it's mine, too, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That in the cat box.
I just stopped as an adult. I don't pick up dog poop anymore.
You just don't go into the yard?
I just watch where I'm walking in the yard.
Okay. I think the funniest podcast was the Twinkie podcast. You guys make me laugh in my bed when I listen. Also in the supermarket. So nice. He listens when he goes to sleep and when he's grocery shopping. Mm-hmm. Or I guess when his mom is grocery shopping. Or dad. Or two dads.
I don't know. Kids today are pretty independent.
Yeah, you're right. I think you guys are the funniest people in the world.
That is true.
I have a few suggestions, like, what does cat got your tongue mean? Mm-hmm. And other phrases mean.
You love improper English.
I do. Also, riot control. That really cracked me up. How does an 11-year-old kid know what riot control is? And Legos. So he wants to know about cat got your tongue, Legos, and riot control. And trading cards and football. So could you please read my shout-out on the air? And here's my shout-out. And this is in all caps. Mm-hmm. I told you, Mom, I would get my email read on air. Ha, 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 ha. So that's from Sam W. And he said, I thought Josh looked like Chuck and Chuck looked like Josh. But that changed when I saw your pictures on the site.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Yeah.
We're...
Well, not that I look like you and you look like me, but that we look like different people.
Oh, okay.
That's always the case with the voice.
Yeah.
I'm much uglier than you would think.
That is not true. You are a lovely, handsome man.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks, Sam. Keep on shopping. And Annette, keep on trucking. If you have an interesting email that you want to roll the dice and see if we'll read it on the air, it costs you nothing in this digital age. You can send us an electronic mail. Just address it to stuffpodcast@howstuffworks.com.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com. Want more How Stuff Works? Check out our blogs on the howstuffworks.com homepage. Brought to you by the reinvented 2012 Camry. It's ready. Are you?
The NFL playoffs are here, and Wild Card Weekend, powered by Verizon, is in full swing.
Man, it all comes down to this.
The stakes are high, hopes are higher, and everything is on the line.
My goodness!
It's win or go home, and every moment counts on the road to Super Bowl 60.
It's a touchdown!
Wild Card Weekend, powered by Verizon. Through Monday. Visit watch.nfl.com for the full schedule.
These days, it seems like AI agents are just about everywhere you turn, every field and every function. But without identity, you can't trust they'll serve your business instead of jeopardizing it. Fortunately, Okta helps you get identity right by securing your AI agents' identities, giving you a single layer of control, a single standard of trust. So whether an AI agent supports a single user or your entire enterprise, with Okta, you'll turn risk into opportunity. Secure every agent. Secure any agent. Okta secures AI.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.